Hello and welcome to another episode of Taylor Talks Comics. Today we're going to go over Spa by ERIK SVETOFT. Stay tuned. Okay, so today it's another episode of Spooktober, another day of October where I go over a different horror comic every single day. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of those videos and go back and watch the Spooktober videos that you've missed maybe. I love horror comics and I wanted to show off one every single day. Today we're talking about Spa by ERIK SVETOFT. This is a thick hardcover released by Fantagraphics a year or two ago. And just a great looking hardcover. I got this from my library. This is a book that I really wanted to try out and see if I enjoyed it and see if I want to buy it, and I definitely will be buying a copy in the near future. But it does have it's like a wraparound cover with great imagery by ERIK SVETOFT. So, and here's great in papers too, which I think matches the back. Yeah, you get into, and then you open up to these horrific imagery that you get into. So ERIK SVETOFT this is I guess his debut graphic novel, but he's put out a lot of books. I do highly recommend going to Earl Grey's YouTube channel, Panelology. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels. He did a great video showing off a bunch of different art books that ERIK SVETOFT has released. I believe he's a Swedish cartoonist, Eric is. But this is his first like broad English American release. And it's through Fantagraphics. So one of my favorite types of horror is surrealist horror. Anything that can make you feel like really uncomfortable and unsettling. And this book does that in spades. The story here, if you want all of your stories to be very straightforward and spelled out for you, then maybe this isn't the comic for you. But if you're okay not understanding a lot of it or not picking up on a lot of the messaging happening that makes you feel like you need to reread it, which is my favorite kind of comics, is ones that warrant rereading, and which is why I'll be buying a copy of this because I want to reread it, then this is definitely for you. And it's all based around this spa, this day spa, or I guess it's not even a day spa because you're supposed to stay. It's a spa that you retreat space where you go and you get skin treatment, you have a sauna, you swim in a pool. It's like this resort you go to basically, and you can see like even the unsettling faces are already setting the pace, setting the tone for what kind of story you're getting into. And I think it's in the simplistic facial expressions and kind of off-putting looks that really kind of turn things on its head for you as a reader, because when you're first looking at this, you're looking at this and it looks almost like like juvenile art almost, where it's like these not stick figures but very like easy looking artwork, right? But that's just to throw you off because it's supposed to bring you in to be like to start making you question what you're reading, because then you can already see in this panel right here, ERIK SVETOFT is a very accomplished artist. Like he is very capable of drawing very detailed imagery. And even like this whole thing's black and white, but even the use of color, using gray as a color, using white as a color, especially in this imagery, you have the two main figures here that you're meeting here in this panel. And then as they're walking through here, they're like the lone white figures that you're supposed to focus in on as you're going through this laundry room, basically. This really, really great use of artwork and color and panel layouts and panel transitions, page transitions to craft a story, which is one of my favorite things, reading a comic book done all by one hand, because you can get those kind of treatments when you get one written by one hand. It's harder when you have a different writer than artist or different colorist or different letterer, that kind of thing. So in this spa, it's supposed to be a perfect, pristine place. Like you're supposed to, like this imagery, maybe block out the faces because they're kind of creepy, is supposed to be like this pristine, wonderful place you want to go to, this resort that everybody would want to go to. But then there's this leaking water, which is done into looking like a black ooze almost, but obviously, again, it's black and white, so he's using his color the best to its best capability, and looks like a black ooze. It's kind of creeping into the story, and up to this point, you haven't seen anything truly creepy. Everything like unsettling faces maybe, but you're not seeing anything truly off-putting. Everything looks perfect and pristine to this point. This is the first time that the scariness and the horror is starting to ooze into the story. Is with this leaking water. You can see it all over the place. So they have like a cleaning crew that's responsible for always making sure this place stays beautiful. Which gives me kind of a vibes of like Stepford Wives or those kind of things where on its surface, on the paper, if you were to write out the idea of the spa or Stepford Wives, it sounds perfect, like a idealistic way to live, that nothing's going to go wrong necessarily, right? But then you get into this, but that in itself, that kind of two-dimensional perfect utopia on its face is unsettling, because you're like, that can't be, that's too much, it's too perfect. So these people are trying to keep up that image, and you can see like the water oozing leaks onto the staff member's shirt. And he's a brand new staff member. So that's going to play a part in a future role. But these are the two main characters that we saw. Not even main characters, I'm sorry. The two characters that we were first introduced to. And they're really trying to figure out what the heck's going on in this place. And then as they're eating their meal, you see this creepy corpse over here with flies flying around him. And they're just like, what the heck? Like, again, it's the surrealist horror, because you're not explained. It's not on the surface explained like why there's this dead guy sitting over here in this chair. Or if even is what they're seeing is real. Maybe they're imagining it. That's never spelled out for you. But that's the kind of unsettling thing that I love about surreal horror comics, is that things don't have to be spelled out for you. The fact that you're questioning things or wondering or are confused about things kind of leads into that tension and that horror and terror of the moment. Because it's like you're walking into a room and you're just like, what is going on? And then here's the guy that runs the spa, and he's doing yoga in this spot, smoking. And here's his assistant that is secretly in love with him, which kind of reminds me of like golden age comics back in the day, when you'd have like or even Silver Age comics, when like Karen Page and Matt Murdock, whenever they'd have like these monologues to themselves, right here, these monologues to themselves talking about how much they love this character, but they can't act on that love because for whatever reason. So here she's walking around checking the place, making sure everything looks good. She sees the ooze and she's like, why are you not cleaning this up? What's going on here? And then here's the inspectors. So these inspectors come in to inspect to make sure everything is up to code. You think of like health inspectors or whatnot. And they're here for the inspection. Then you as a reader is like, well, there's all this leaking stuff over here. What are they going to do when they see that? Well, the secretary just pays them off with money. So you can see that there's some sort of deal here where they get paid off to not inspect the area. And even there's these weird things where this guy in the cop outfit takes all the candy out of the bowl and shoves it into his jacket. And then here's this like really rich aristocrat like guy that wants everything to be perfect and nothing's ever going to be good enough for them, with his assistants. Here's a great 2-page spread of the spa. Again, you can see like when I say juvenile kind of faces and whatnot, I don't mean that as a denigration of ERIK SVETOFT's talent, because you can see the talent in the artwork everywhere else. So it's done very much on purpose. So here's a rich aristocrat. So going... Here's one of the massage guys that, again, just unsettling, weird. I love weird comics and unsettling comics. Like, these things all are definitely my vibe. I'm just constantly wondering, like, what the heck is happening? Who is this guy? And what is going on in the mind of ERIK SVETOFT to draw these things? But these are the things that I enjoy as a reader, trying to figure out. There's a rich aristocrat guy. He has like a facial mask on. He rips it off and throws the skin onto this plate because the food's not up to snuff. And then here's a chef. When she tells him the food wasn't good enough, the chef is starting to shed a tear. That's going to play a part later. All right, so here's the guy that had like the ooze drip onto his shoulder, talking to the main guy that runs the spa. And he's explaining that everything has to be perfect. We don't deal with a dirty uniform as well as maybe someone else would. So he tells him the story, which then as the reader tells you the backstory of how he took over the spa. It has to do with his dad. His dad owned the spa. and he just passed it on to the kids. And while he's on the beach, he remembers the scene of these two girls shooting down this bird and then eating its guts. I don't know. Like, again, unsettling. It's like that, like a David Lynch type movie, a Cronenberg movie, where it's just like these constant scenes of like, you're like, what was that? But again, just things that are coming out of the imagination of the creator. You can see like the dad's a drunk. He passes on the spall to the kid. The kid takes it over, presumably as a child. And then that's why the staff member tells the guy everything has to be perfect, because that's what he's working to do. So he's going to send him to a team building exercise. She's like, oh, that's nice. Like, he's going to be with his new employees and new co-employees, co-workers, and do a team building activity. The team building activity is he's going into this room. They put a pig nose on him, and they'll make oinking noises at him to like bully him. So now you're just like, what the heck? Like, there's cruel in this place. I'm trying not to go over every single bit of the story, because I want to leave you some of the mystery into your own reading experience. Here's a scene where all the ooze that's leaking out ruins all the money they have in their safe. So now they're broke. Now the spall's having money troubles. And then here's like this pig face like in Seinfeld. Pig face character meeting the guy with a pig nose. Here's the technicians. These are funny. These are like Three Stooges characters, where everything they try to fix, quote unquote, they just end up breaking. And they have like this layout of all the pipes and whatnot to try to fix this leak that's leaking all this ooze, and they're terrible at it. So it's just causing more problems within the spa. It almost like the whole thing is, I guess, a kind of a commentary on consumerism, culture, maybe corporations being too big for their britches, to use a phrase, but too big that they can't control everything. That things, the more you narrow down things to the bottom of the totem pole of the big corporations, the worse it gets. Kind of all these themes are, you can kind of grab those out of all this weirdness and the surreal horrorness of it. Bullying within the corporations and the culture of employees and whatnot is another theme that you can pull from it. So it is a weird comic, but there are these things that you can see and pull from it as a reader. All these weird. Here's a sequence. I guess this is the final sequence I'm going to explain, and then I'll keep flipping through it. But this person's like mopping through here, and then all these pigs start oozing out of this room. And then the pig face guy is now riding on top of him with all these spots on his shirt. Like, what in the heck is happening? Which I think, is that the same art? Yeah, but it's like a reverse image of that artwork on here for the cover. But yeah, so like, and that's what the best kind of, these kind of surrealist art stories, that's the best thing they could do, is like leave you thinking or wondering or about something else, like seeing what the image of the story is, like what is the writer or creator getting at, and is it like a consumerism commentary or a commentary on social norms of rich aristocrats, of people that live lavish lifestyles beyond their means and kind of thing? Or is that just me pulling it out of my own brain and thinking, and maybe ERIK SVETOFT is not saying any of that, and it's just this weird horror comic he wants to make? That plays into a larger role that I can write an essay on, as far as like whenever someone makes a piece of art and sends it off into the commercial world, it belongs then to the person consuming the art. Like, it no longer belongs to ERIK SVETOFT, it belongs to the reader and how they interpret it. That's something I very much believe in and I think about a lot. So kind of plays a role in how I read this. But yeah, this is amazing. If you're a fan of like Junji Ito, Cronenberg, David Lynch, those kinds of things, I would definitely recommend this. It's like 200, 300 pages. How big is this thing? 320 pages or so. It's like this thick hardcover, published by Fantagraphics, ERIK SVETOFT. I hope he releases more things too, because now after seeing that Earl Grey video and seeing the artwork that he's capable of, this is not his normal art. Like, he doesn't have an art style where like everything he draws looks like that. Like, this is a very accomplished work and I loved it. But he does so many different things that he has so much range. I like to see him do feature comics. And I definitely read them. But this is one of my favorite horror reads that I've read this year. Can't recommend this enough. Spaw, ERIK SVETOFT. Let me know in the comments what your favorite surrealist horror is, whether it be movies or music or comics or whatever. I'm very much into that idea, and I want to consume more of it myself. And also, don't forget to subscribe. I'm doing a different horror comic every day of Spooktober, so you don't want to miss out on any of those. Give the video a thumbs up, and comment down below with any of your thoughts on any of the comics I've talked about. I always like to reply to those. And everyone, keep reading comics.